little shops opened their doors. A little mist hung over the horizon. A beautiful song played on the radio. A farmer turned the gravel by the roadside. A dog slept underneath the old truck. And for a moment, watching that quiet scene, it felt like time and nothing left to prove. I drove slowly through Millbrook with the window halfway down. Morning light fell across the fences while the shadows faded from the ground. Maybe I spent too many years trying to get somewhere else, never knowing some roads are only meant to make us stop. I don't know why that stayed with me, the sound of such an ordinary day. Maybe I was looking far away for what was always here. I spent my whole life looking for a place I thought I needed to get to. Funny how the simplest things are the ones I never seem to see. I stopped at a little roadside market to buy some jam and a little bread. An old man counted out his change with a newspaper by his feet. He smiled when I held the door for him and said, "Beautiful morning, isn't it?" I almost told him I was in a hurry, but I looked outside and he was right. The road came down toward the river and the water caught the sun. I pulled the old truck to the shoulder and heard a mother call her son. He came running in from the fields with his jacket in his hands. She laughed and shook her head at him, the way mothers always do. No one stopped to remember it. No one knew I was watching. I reached for my notebook beside me and wrote before the moment passed. Maybe I was waiting for a life that never needed to be grand. The mountains rose behind the highway and the road became my only plan. The wind was moving through the window and I finally let it carry me. I don't know why that stayed with me, the sound of such an ordinary day. Maybe I was looking far away for what was always here. I spent my whole life looking for a place I thought I needed to get to. Funny how the simplest things are the ones I never seem to see. The afternoon was turning warmer and the road was turning gold. A flock of birds flew over me and disappeared beyond the trees. I thought about the years behind me and behind me, and all the places I tried to reach, all the mornings I spent running, and how I found my peace right here. Now there's a river in the distance, smoke rising over the pines, a half-full cup beside my notebook, and nowhere I have to be tonight. I spent my whole life looking for a place I thought I needed to get to. Now every mile gives back to me the things I almost let pass me by. I spent my whole life looking for a place I thought I needed to get to. Now every mile gives back to me the things I almost let pass me by. The road runs on through for the ride. I woke up somewhere past the county line, with morning light across the dashboard. A little town was opening its doors, and someone swept the sidewalk clean. The bakery was warm against the cold. I heard a bell above the door. A woman laughed behind the counter and asked an old man how he'd been. He said, "Same as yesterday, I suppose." She smiled and handed him his bread. They talked about the weather for a while, like there was nowhere else to be. I took a coffee by the window and watched the street begin to move. A school bus stopped beside the corner, and children ran beneath the trees. Nobody was trying to make a memory, nobody was waiting for a sign. They were simply living through the morning, and somehow it was enough this time. Maybe life was never meant to hurry. Maybe I was always looking too far ahead, trying to turn each day into a story before I had a chance to live it. Maybe all the things I thought were waiting were already passing through my hands. A cup of coffee, someone's laughter, a quiet morning I could understand. Outside a man was painting shutters with an old radio beside him. The song was fading in and out beneath the sound of passing cars. A little girl was drawing with her finger in the dust along the sidewalk. Her mother called her from the doorway, and she turned around and smiled. I walked a little farther down the street, past a church and an empty lot. There was laundry moving in the breeze and coffee drifting from a screen door. I thought about the years I'd spent trying to become someone I'd imagined, and wondered if I'd missed the point by always needing more than this. The morning didn't ask me anything, the town didn't need me to explain. For once I wasn't chasing after something, I was simply standing in the rain. Maybe life was never meant to hurry. Maybe I was always looking too far ahead, trying to turn each day into a story before I had a chance to live it. Maybe all the things I thought were waiting were already passing through my hands. A cup of coffee, someone's laughter, a quiet morning I could understand. I stayed until the coffee cooled, until the street grew bright with noon. And for the first time in a long time worth remembering. Maybe life was never meant to hurry. Maybe there was nowhere I had to be. Maybe all the roads I'd spent my life on were only teaching me to see. The bakery closed its doors behind me. The afternoon was warming up the street. I got back into the old truck with a little more time beneath my feet. I left the town past 9 o'clock with no reason to look back. The road was waiting somewhere west, and I was finally not in a hurry. I left the town sometime afternoon. The road was quiet beneath the sun. A man was fixing a fence by the field with an old blue shirt and dusty hands. A woman waited beside the mailbox, holding a letter against her coat. I wondered who she was waiting for and where that letter came from. A truck pulled over near the bridge. Two boys climbed out and stretched their legs. They laughed about something I couldn't hear and disappeared around the bend. I used to think that passing strangers were only faces along the road. Now every window seems to hold a story I'll never know. Maybe every life is moving just beyond the edge of mine, and every person I pass by is carrying a world inside. We're all just people passing through, with places we are trying to reach, carrying names and old photographs, and things we never say out loud. I used to think the road was empty if I was traveling alone, but every mile is full of lives that I'll never know. I stopped beside a little station where a woman was feeding the birds. She said they came there every morning and knew the sound of her door. She smiled when one landed beside her, then brushed the crumbs from her hand. I stood there longer than I meant to, just watching them take flight. There was nothing remarkable about it, no reason anyone would remember somehow I carried that small moment long after I drove away. Maybe we don't leave much behind us, maybe that's not what we're here to do. Maybe being kind for a moment is enough to make it through. The sun was lowering behind the fields. The road was turning blue. I thought about all the people who had once passed through my life too. Some I remember clearly, some I couldn't name at all. But every one of them left something, even if they never knew. We're all just people passing through, with places we are trying to reach, carrying names and old photographs, and things we never say out loud. I used to think the road was empty if I was traveling alone. Now every mile is full of lives that I'll never know. I drove on as evening gathered, the windows open to the air. For once I didn't need to know where anyone was going. By late afternoon I reached the river where the old road bends toward town. There was a wooden bridge beside it and a field of summer grass. I stopped beneath the cottonwoods and walked a little way alone. The water sounded just the same as I remembered long ago. I found an old stone near the bank where I used to sit as a girl. I could almost hear our voices before the years had carried us away. For a moment I wanted yesterday, the way we want what we can't keep. Then the river moved beneath me and reminded me to let it leave. Some places keep our memories, but they don't ask us to return. Sometimes we come back only to see how much we've learned. I don't have to live back there to know where I began. I can carry what was beautiful without holding on to it. The river doesn't turn around when it reaches open ground. Maybe growing older means letting love stay without staying there. A boy was skipping stones downstream. His father counted every throw. The boy kept missing where he aimed, but laughed and tried again. His father said one more time and handed him a cornerstone. I smiled because I remembered how someone once did that for me. The evening settled through the trees and birds were calling from the fields. I stood there with my hands in my pockets, listening to the water move. I thought I'd come back looking for something. I thought I'd lost along the way, but maybe all I needed was to see it differently. The past was never asking me to become who I had been. It only wanted to remind me that I had already lived it. I don't have to live back there to know where I began. I can carry what was beautiful without holding on to it. The river doesn't turn around when it reaches open ground. Maybe growing older means letting love stay without staying there. I crossed the bridge at sunset and watched the old road disappear. Some things are meant to travel with us. Some are meant to stay back there. The rain came down around 6, just as the road began to climb. I pulled beneath a row of trees and watched the windshield fill. The fields turned silver in the distance. The mountains disappeared in gray. I checked the road ahead of me, then decided I could wait. There was a little diner nearby with yellow light behind the glass. I walked inside with rain on my jacket and found an empty table. An old woman sat beside the window, reading something in her hands. She looked up and said, "Looks like we're not going anywhere fast." I laughed and took the seat beside her. For once I didn't need a plan. The rain could have the road tonight. I would let it have its way. Maybe nothing has to happen for a day to still be good. Maybe there is something peaceful in not doing what we should. I spent so many years believing every delay was something lost, but sometimes staying where you are is how you find what you forgot. The waitress brought another coffee and someone turned the radio low. Two men were talking near the counter about a field they used to know. Outside the rain kept falling like it had nowhere else to be. And for the first time in a long time, neither did I. The woman folded up her paper and told me she would stop fighting weather when you've lived enough to see. And she smiled and watched the window as the storm began to pass. I thought about how simple wisdom sometimes finds you by chance. When the rain finally softened, the whole road smelled like earth. The clouds opened above the hills, and everything looked new. I could have called the waiting wasted, but I didn't feel that way. Somewhere between the storm and sunset, I had learned to stay. Maybe nothing has to happen for a day to still be good. Maybe there is something peaceful in not doing what we should. I spent so many years believing every delay was something lost, but sometimes staying where you are is how you find what you forgot. The road was shining in the evening, water running down the hill. I started driving slowly, and let the quiet stay with me. Opened over farmland with a pale and quiet sky. I passed a row of wooden fences and horses standing in the light. The farmer lifted up his hand. I slowed beside the gate. I waved back through the window and kept driving on. A girl was carrying wildflowers down a road beside the field. She stopped to tie her shoelace and looked up at the sky. There was nothing waiting for her, no place she needed to reach. She simply stood there for a moment with the flowers in her hands. Used to think the important moments would announce themselves somehow, but maybe life is mostly made of what happens between them now. It's the fields between the places, the roads between the towns, the little conversations that we forget to write down. It's the morning on the window, the wind across the trees, the things we never thought we'd miss until they're all we need. I stopped beside a wooden fence and listened to the horses breathe. The grass moved slowly in the wind, like waves across the green. church bell marked the hour, I stood there with my hands in my pockets and let the whole world pass. I thought about the life I'd wanted and all the things I'd planned, how often I'd mistaken movement for knowing where I stood. Maybe I don't need a bigger life, maybe I only need to see the one that's already happening while I'm living it. The sun moved slowly across the fields, a bird landed on the wire. Nothing changed around me, and somehow everything had changed. It's the fields between the places, the roads between the towns, the little conversations that we forget to write down. It's the morning on the window, the wind across the trees, the things we never thought we'd miss until they're all we need. By evening I was farther west, with the fields behind the trees. The road kept stretching toward tomorrow, but tonight was enough for me. I stopped beside a little roadside stand where someone had been selling peaches. A wooden sign leaned against the fence, and a basket sat beneath it. There was no one there to watch the table, just a jar for leaving what you owed. I took 2 peaches from the basket and left a little more than ask. The afternoon was warm and quiet. Bees moved slowly through the weeds. I sat beneath an old shade tree and ate one with my hands. Juice ran down my fingers and I laughed at the mess. I couldn't remember the last time I'd let a moment be enough. Some things are beautiful because they don't stay. Maybe that's what makes us notice before they fade away. Not everything is meant to be kept. Not every moment needs a name. Some things pass through our hands and still become a part of us. The sunset doesn't ask us to remember. The river doesn't ask us to stay. Maybe life is beautiful enough without taking it away. Came back from the fields and nodded when he saw me there. He asked if the peaches were good. I told him they were the best. He laughed and said they'll be gone by Friday, like it was nothing at all. I watched him carry in the baskets and thought about how right he was. take photographs of everything, afraid that time would steal it. Now I let the afternoon disappear without reaching for my phone. The light moved across the grass, the bees kept moving through the weeds, and when I finally drove away, I didn't feel like I'd lost a thing. Maybe some memories are meant to live only where they happened, not in a photograph, not in a notebook, just somewhere inside us. Not everything is meant to be kept, not every moment needs a name. Some things pass through our hands and still become a part of us. The sunset doesn't ask us to remember. The river doesn't ask us to stay. Maybe life is beautiful enough without taking it away. Peach trees faded in the mirror. The road went on beneath the sun. I left the afternoon behind me and somehow carried it along. I reached a town just before noon where music spilled into the street. There were children running through the square and flowers hanging from the trees. A man was playing an old guitar beside a table full of books, and someone called my name by accident, then laughed when I turned around. There was a woman selling lemonade with her daughter at her side. They argued over how much sugar, then both began to laugh. A dog slept beneath the table while people moved around him. For a little while I forgot the road and stayed to watch the town. I couldn't remember the last time I'd laughed without a reason, without wondering what came next or what I should be doing. Maybe joy doesn't have to find us. Maybe sometimes we just let it in. A song from an open window, a stranger laughing in the street. Maybe happiness is smaller than I spend my life believing. Maybe it's just being there when something makes you smile. An old couple danced beside the fountain. Neither one moved very well. She held his hand a little tighter when he almost lost his step. They laughed like they had done it 100 times before, and I wondered how many ordinary days had brought them to that afternoon. The music music stopped around 3 and people slowly went away. The square became quiet again, but I stayed beneath the shade. I thought about the life I'd wanted and how serious I'd made it. Maybe I had forgotten that I was allowed to enjoy it. No lesson came, no answer followed, just sunlight on the pavement and laughter in the distance, and somehow that was enough. Maybe joy doesn't have to find us, maybe sometimes we just let it in. A song from an open window, a stranger laughing in the street. Maybe happiness is smaller than I spend my life believing. Maybe it's just being there when something makes you smile. Shadows lengthen with the music fading behind, and smiled all the way back to the road for no particular reason. I stopped in a town I hadn't seen since I was 23. The old theater was still standing, though the sign had lost its light. I walked along the sidewalk past the places I remembered, and everything looked smaller than it had inside my mind. There was a cafe where we used to sit after long summer nights. The chairs were different now, and the walls had all been painted. I stood outside for a moment and remembered who I was, then smiled at that younger woman who thought she knew so much. I used to look behind me and wish I'd chosen differently. Now I can see that every road was carrying me here. I don't need to change the past to be grateful that it happened. I don't need to live those years again to love the girl she did the best she could with everything she knew, and every wrong turn on the way still brought me here. Past a house with blue shutters where someone had planted roses. A bicycle leaned against the porch and a child was calling from inside. Life had gone on without asking whether I was ready or not, and somehow that felt comforting instead of sad. trees. I thought about the people who had disappeared from my life. Some names still made me smile, some were harder to remember, but none of them felt like mistakes anymore. Maybe growing older isn't losing who we were. Maybe it's finally learning not to be ashamed of her. I don't need to change the past to be grateful that it happened. I don't need to live those years again to love the girl I was. She did the best she could with everything she knew, and every wrong turn on the way still brought me here. I left the town beneath the evening with no sorrow in the rear view glass. Somewhere along the road I finally stopped fighting the past. The road narrowed after sunset, and the signs became few. I missed a turn outside the mountains and didn't bother turning back. The sky was clear above the trees, the headlights crossed the pavement, and for once I wasn't worried about where I would sleep. I stopped beside a quiet overlook where the whole valley opened wide. There were lights below the hills and stars above the road. I sat on the hood a while, listening to the engine cool, and realized I couldn't remember the last time I felt this free. I spent so long believing I needed to know the way. Maybe the road doesn't know me answers, maybe I can let it change. I don't need a map tonight, I don't need to know what's next. I can follow where the road goes and leave the rest to morning. I spent enough of my life trying to understand the distance. Tonight I'll just keep driving and let the dark be dark. Somewhere below, a train moved slowly. Its lights appeared and disappeared. I thought about all the plans I'd made and all the ones that never happened. For years I called them failures. Now they just look like roads that led me somewhere unexpected. And maybe that's okay. The wind moved through the grass and carried the smell of pine. I stood there until the stars filled every every part of the sky. There was no great revelation, nothing changed inside the world. I just stopped asking tomorrow to tell me who I'd become. Maybe freedom isn't knowing where the road will end. Maybe it's trusting yourself. To me, whatever comes, I don't need a map tonight. I don't need to know what's next. I can follow where the road goes and leave the rest to morning. I spent enough of my life trying to understand the distance. Tonight I'll just keep driving. Let the dark be dark. I climbed back into the old truck and started down the mountain road. No map, no destination, just the night ahead. The mountains were behind me, and Ember Valley wasn't far. I passed the fields I'd driven past before, but everything looked different. The same old fences stood beside the road. The same river crossed the valley, but I wasn't searching anymore, so I finally saw them clearly. The farmer waved beside his gate. A woman carried groceries home. Two children chased each other through the dust beside the road. A dog slept beneath the truck, and somewhere someone played a radio. I smiled because I'd seen these things before. I just hadn't really looked. Maybe nothing changed around me. Maybe I was the one who changed. The world kept being ordinary while I learned to see it. The road feels different now, though it's the same road underneath. The mountains haven't moved, the river still runs the same. I thought I needed somewhere else to finally feel alive, but maybe I only needed to be awake for my own life. I stopped at the little market where I'd held the door before. The old man's newspaper was still there, though he was nowhere in sight. The bell above the doorway rang, someone laughed behind the counter, and for a second the whole morning felt like a circle closing. I drove past Millbrook slowly with the window halfway down. The sunlight crossed the fences and shadows moved along the ground. I thought about the woman who left here, thinking she had somewhere to go. and wondered if she ever knew she was already on her way home. Maybe home was never a place. Maybe it was a way of looking, a way of standing still long enough to notice you are here. The road feels different now, though it's the same road underneath. The mountains haven't moved, the river still runs the same. I thought I needed somewhere else to finally feel alive, but maybe I only needed to be awake from my own life. Ember Valley was waiting just beyond the evening light, and for the first time I wasn't coming back for something. Came back to Ember Valley just before the sun went down. The little shops were closing and the streets were quiet again. The same mist rested over Cedar Pass, the same river caught the light, and somewhere down the road a radio was playing softly. I parked beside the old river and walked down to the water. The mountains stood beyond the trees, exactly where they'd always been. I thought about the road behind and all the things I'd gone to find, then laughed because I finally understood they had been here all along. The world never asked me to become someone new. It only waited patiently for me to notice what was true. All the things I thought I needed were never very far away. They were mornings at the window and people smiling in the rain. They were roads beneath my tires and coffee cooling by my hand. They were moments I kept missing while I was making other plans. A farmer closed the gate nearby and called his dog back home. A woman walked beside the river with her child holding her hand. The evening settled over everything without asking to be remembered, and I stood there for a while, just grateful to be there. I opened up my old notebook and read the words I'd written down about the life that never needed to be grand, to be enough. I thought about the people I'd passed, the rain, the fields, the little towns, and every ordinary moment that had quietly changed me. Maybe a beautiful life isn't something we build. Maybe it's something we notice before the moment disappears. Maybe the road was never taking me somewhere I needed to go. Maybe it was only teaching me how to finally be here. All the things I thought I needed were never very far away. They were mornings at the window and people smiling in the rain. They were roads beneath my tires and coffee cooling by my hand. They were moments I kept missing while I was making other plans. The river keeps on moving, the mountains stay the same, and I don't need to hold them to know they changed my life. Tomorrow I may leave again, or I may stay a while. For now I hear the river and watch the evening light. Nothing extraordinary happened, nothing I could call a miracle. I just noticed that I was here, and somehow that was enough. I pulled over where the apple trees were growing wild beside the road. The morning sun was through the branches and the grass was wet and cold. There was a wooden ladder leaning against a tree beside the fence. A few red apples on the ground and no one there to gather them. Walked a little farther in and heard the leaves move overhead. A sparrow landed on a branch, then disappeared before I looked. I used to think that life was waiting for some moment I would recognize, but nothing here was asking anything. It simply happened in the light. Maybe beauty doesn't call your name. Maybe it just waits until you're still. Maybe all the things we overlook are the things that teach us how to feel. The morning doesn't need a reason. The river doesn't need to know. Wherever your road is going, or where every season goes. Maybe I don't need an answer for every road I've traveled through. Maybe being here and seeing it is sometimes all we have to do. I found a bench beneath the branches with a blanket folded on one side. Someone must have sat there yesterday and watched the afternoon go by. I touched the weathered wooden armrest and wondered who had sat there too. How many ordinary mornings had passed through this same view. I opened up my notebook, but the page stayed mostly white. Some things become more beautiful when you don't try to name them right. The morning doesn't need apples where they lay, and walked back toward the road. The valley stretched beyond the trees, and I had nowhere else to go. Afternoon, I reached a crossroads with a gas station and a field. Two roads disappearing westward, neither one of them looked real. A man was sitting on the tailgate, eating something from a paper bag. He nodded when I passed him slowly, like he'd seen me there before. I stopped beside the roadside just to stretch my tired legs. There was diesel in the distance and the smell of freshly turned earth. The tractor moved across the hillside slow enough to watch it go, and somewhere in the open fields a wind chime sounded soft and low. I've spent so long afraid of choosing, like every road could take me wrong. But maybe roads are not decisions, maybe they're just places we move on. Somewhere between here and nowhere, I finally stopped asking why. The sky was wide above the fields and the afternoon was passing by. I don't have to know the ending, I don't have to name the place. Sometimes you find yourself again in the middle of the way. The middle of the way. A pickup passed with dusty windows. A child was sleeping in the back. A woman waved from the passenger seat, and I waved back without thinking. The clouds were gathering over Ember, but the sunlight stayed behind, turning every field to ember for a few quiet miles. Maybe this is what I've wanted, not a destination or a sign, just enough room to hear myself and enough time to change my mind. Somewhere between here and nowhere, I finally stopped asking why. The road was stretching out before me, and the evening filled the sky. I don't have to know the ending, I don't have to know my place. Sometimes you find the life you're living when you stop trying to escape. When you stop trying to escape. I chose the road beside the fields and let the other one remain. There was no right or wrong about it, just the sound of tires on the lane. The sun was low when I reached the valley, and the fields were turning blue. A porch light came on in the distance, then another one came through. Someone called a dog from across the road. A screen door closed somewhere nearby. Smoke was rising from the chimneys, and the first stars filled the sky. I drove beneath the cottonwoods with the headlights barely on. The radio was playing softly, and the signal disappeared. For a while there was only silence and the tires beneath the road, and I realized I wasn't lonely, I was simply alone. There was a time I would have filled this silence with a thought, a plan, a place to go. Now I let the darkness gather, and I don't need to make it known. Some things are beautiful because they leave, some because they stay. Some live only for a moment, then quietly fade away. Maybe life is not the keeping, maybe love is not control. Maybe what we call the passing moment is the part that makes us whole. I stopped beside the river where the water caught the moon. A moth moved around the headlights, then vanished into blue. I could hear the current moving over stones beneath the bank, and thought about the people who had shaped the life I have. I thought I needed bigger answers, something bright enough to prove. But the older I become, the more I trust the quiet truth. Some things are beautiful because they leave, some because they stay. Some live only for a moment, then quietly fade away. And maybe I don't need to hold them or turn them into something more. I can simply let them matter for exactly what they were. Kept on moving, the moon stayed where it was, and I sat there for a little while without asking it for more. Came through the windshield, soft and pale across the road. The same hills stood beside me, but they didn't feel the same. I passed the fields and old familiar places, the market and the river bend, and somewhere in the quiet distance I saw the road that brought me here. I thought about the farmer and the dog beneath the truck, the old man with his newspaper, and the woman at the door, the children running through the morning, the apple trees beside the lane, all the little things I'd noticed that I used to hurry past. Maybe nothing changed around me. Maybe I was the one who changed. The world had never been so empty. I just wasn't looking the same. I was always living this life, even when I couldn't see it. And the roads beneath my tires, and the people I passed by. I was always living this life through the ordinary days, and all the things I thought I'd lost were never far away. The river followed me toward Ember, silver underneath the sun. A breeze moved through the window, and I didn't turn the radio on. I heard the tires against the pavement, birds somewhere beyond the trees, and for the first time in my life, the quiet felt complete. I stopped where the valley opened and watched the morning slowly rise. No grand ending waited for me, just the light across the hills. I took my notebook from the passenger seat and wrote a single line. Maybe the beautiful life was never somewhere else. Maybe it was hiding inside the life I already had. I was always living this life, even when I couldn't see it. And the roads beneath my tires, and the people I passed by. I was always living this life in the ordinary days, and now I know the simplest things were never small at all. The road keeps running through Ember Valley. The morning opens wide. I don't need to chase tomorrow or leave this moment behind. I keep driving slowly with the window open wide, and let the life I already have travel with me tonight.